Hey guys, I'm trying to I'm trying to adjust the quality of my camera, which actually has kind of sucked. Still, from what I can see, but okay. Now it should be much better. Of course, we are meeting here, as you probably read in the title. Unless you haven't, I'm going to tell you. Don't worry. To talk about the match between Diego Schwartzman and Matteo Arnaldi. It's gonna be like one of these. Sorry if me tossing the cable did some weird noises, made some weird noises. I have missed the first game, it seems, but I am already pulling up the stream. So I just had to earlier like wrap something up real quick. So I have missed one game. It looks like Arnaldi just very comfortably held. Why this much? That's a question that well, I can just tell you, what the thought process was. So basically, John asked me today if there's a match in Rome that I would like to watch and do this for. I looked at the lineup, at the slate, if you may, and honestly, it was kind of poor. Like the first round of this, like most of these matches, I wouldn't really be that excited for at the challenger level, even I think. And why did I decide to do a Schwartzman Arnaldi match? Well, it is kind of interesting. Like I think the quality could be pretty poor if Schwartzman is like what he's been doing recently. But I think it's still kind of, yeah, just curious what's gonna happen. Arnaldi is not really an established force on the tour yet. I don't know if he will be. Probably not the highest of ceilings, but I think he should be a tour level player for sure. Of course, he has just broken the top 100 with the Madrid round three. He actually, I think, needs to defend his points in Rome because he made the second round last year in order to actually stay there. But still, he has made his debut. He is in a good spot to try to get um, a Wimbledon main draw spot as well. I think he defends. Well, defends. He's not gonna defend it, but he won a Challenger 50 in Franco Villa Almare around this time last year, which was like his breakout run. I would say he completely dominated the field. I think he beat Maestrelli in the final, whom he didn't dominate. This was like the only opponent that pushed him. But yeah, he was pretty insane in that run. And so maybe that Wimbledon main draw could be tough for him, but still, he has made it to the top 100 at least for 2 weeks now. Well, because of course we're not gonna get the rankings in the middle of Rome, and he is expected to beat Schwartzman, which even like 12 months ago would be a shocker, right? Schwartzman would be entering this as a huge, huge, huge favorite. I think recently watching Diego Schwartzman play tennis has been a bit of a, well, not really a religious experience anymore. Probably not even for our boy Jeffro, who obviously has featured on plenty of these streams and is a big Diego Schwartzman fan. And I think recently there's just not been that much to enjoy about the Argentinian. I had the chance to watch him live last week in Cagliari, which was my first time watching Schwartzman live. So of course, pretty cool from that perspective. Not always like seeing a former top 10 player live. After all, that's a really interesting shot from Arnaldi, the fake dropper. Not really used to the effects that we sometimes see with the players just being completely wrong-footed. Schwartzman got to it. So far, the hitting is actually really, really good too. That's not a fake one. That's just a regular drop shot, and Schwartzman gets to it but doesn't put it over the net. Really good hitting from well, mostly Arnaldi, but also Schwartzman so far. Anyway, what I was saying, yeah, I watched Schwartzman live in Cagliari last week, and he played Matteo Bellucci in the opening round, where like form-wise it was pretty close because, well, Bellucci since the Australian Open had only won one match. And yeah, Bellucci totally looked like this in the opener. He lost it 2-6. He was just unable to put balls inside the court. But then suddenly he started playing his, I don't know, I would say probably even best tennis, given he is not a clay enjoyer usually. He just like only learned it last year. He says he's way better on hard courts. And ooh, that's a very deep backhand from Arnaldi, drawing out the error from Schwartzman. So we're already an early break. I don't know how important this will be. Night, slow conditions, slow courts. We see the crowds. I don't know if Mario is in the crowd for that much, but maybe we're gonna spot him. I know he was in Rome today. If you follow him on Twitter, I think you might have seen like a Barbara Krejcikova selfie. Anyway, what I was talking about, yeah, Bellucci. What was I talking about? Bellucci Schwartzman, yes, and then Bellucci actually started like using a lot of his variety. Well, he was very consistent, and suddenly there was just no point-winning engines for Schwartzman anymore. Like literally none. He had nothing to win points with, so that was kind of worrying. And yeah, let's gonna see. Let's see that. Diego fallen way off. I'm thinking Arnaldi gonna win this one, says Ghosty. Yeah, that's the consensus. And I wonder if Schwartzman's ever really coming back. Like I'm presume that if he started playing the Challenger Tour now, like just not like Cagliari Challenger 175, but actual um lower tier challenger events, I don't think he would be winning them. He's losing to guys like Grenier in Madrid. He's losing to Mattia Bellucci, who's in terrible form. I don't think he'd be winning like South American clay challengers now, or European ones for that matter. And maybe with some time, with some confidence regained, maybe. There is definitely the question of like a player who has always been maybe punching above his weight a little bit, and well, both literally and figuratively, I suppose. And there is that question, when you start maybe declining a bit physically. Has Schwartzman done that? I don't know. He's 30 or something like that, right? So maybe, who knows? Like he could be starting to. I think he is actually 31 this year, and yeah, coming back to his previous, like to his prime level. I don't know if I see it for him, but at the same time, you kind of gotta remember that when Schwartzman was like first breaking through to the tour, you would never guess that he was gonna be a top 10 player, right? He seemingly was too limited physically. The game also, because of that, was like it seemed that it was going to be an uphill battle for him, like always. Then he did what he did, which is just absurd and phenomenal achievements, of course. And yeah, it never really made sense, and that's, I guess, both a pro and a con, I suppose, because on the plus side, it never really made sense. So who is really like? Oh, sorry, I have sound from something. I think it's John's video. I'm gonna mute it for myself so that you don't hear it double. I think. Yes. What? Yeah, I wanted to say that. Yeah, that it never really made sense that he was so that he had such good results, but at the same time, it didn't make sense. So, but he did this. So clearly, he was able to overcome all that. Maybe he is. I don't know. My take is we'll probably we're not going to see Schwartzman that high anymore. But who knows? Yeah, from the chat, Ghosty wanted to talk about Kenyan and JJ Wolf. I'm gonna talk about it in a second because I actually just had table tennis practice and like I barely caught up with the results. I saw Kenyan Sabalenka actually saw the last game, but not Wolf's results. So result and a couple of other ones. So I'm gonna make up for that in a sec. And Arnaldi was love 30 down in this game, but now serving volleys to take it to 30. Schwartzman actually had a pass there, just did not even come close to making it. So first, maybe I'm going to just reply to what John asked and then look at the results from earlier today. I know this is off point. What are the odds? Oh, actually, I can show it on the screen. I'm an idiot. I know this is off point. What are the odds? Percentage on Rafa playing Roland Garros. Yeah, it depends. He is practicing, so clearly he is at least in some decent physical state. Like he is not Federer at Laver Cup, right? Where it was just clear that with the knee he was never going to cover the court properly in singles. So at least we know that. I think if this is going to be his last year, and I think he must have a pretty clear idea in mind already, like how long he thinks he can keep doing this. I don't know what that answer for him is, but I think he already has a clear idea. If this is going to be his last year, then he needs to play Roland Garros one last time, right? I mean, needs to. But yeah, at this stage, it's just hard to see him beating Alcaraz in a best of five. Maybe Djokovic too. I don't know if Alcaraz or Djokovic will be stronger because we'll see who, what Djokovic does at Rome. I think this will be very telling. But yeah, as it stands right now, beating Alcaraz in a best of five, also like a physical beast, I don't know. I guess it's not really that sort of a question for Nadal at this point, right? I mean, probably he's mostly wondering whether he can beat, I don't know, the Jan Lennart Struffs of the world, or the Aslan, I don't know, the Aslan Karatsevs of the world, or yeah, I just came up with two random players. I mean, Karatsev might not even be in, right? He has to play qualifying, so unless they like give him a wild card. But I don't think the French Federation is really known for doing this, not to their players. Of course, not taking that reciprocal deal with the US and Australia into consideration. Hey, Max. And yeah, when it comes to the results of earlier, let me just glance at them. I mean, Wolf beating Grenier, that's good because Grenier was like so lucky, right, in Madrid, and of course the conditions there were a little better for him. But that's the first win of JJ Wolf on European clay. This was only his third match actually, and he lost to Roberto Marcora at Roland Garros qualifying 2020, and this year, of course, he played in Madrid. He played someone, right, Shevchenko. So that's his first ever win on European clay. Nicely done. We'll see. I mean, I haven't really watched him much on European clay, frankly. Actually, I think I watched both matches before today, but just two matches still. Of course, that's all he played, but that's not really some good sample size. But I think theoretically, like if he actually focused his schedule on maybe on it a bit more, like I would like to see him playing a schedule like Shelton did this year. I think it would massively help him in the future. And of course, JJ has demonstrated on many occasions that he should be a main tour player, like for years. Totally has the game right, and he should be a nightmare for like top seeds and etc. Speaking of top seeds, Hubert Hurkacz in the second round, maybe not a top seed, but number 14 for JJ. Is that doable? Kinda is, right? Like it will be hard for these guys to break each other. Let me see if JJ, for example, was broken against Grenier today. I'm interested in that. Well, just once, I suppose. And looks like he was winning a lot of points on serve. But it's also Grenier, who might be better on return than Hurkacz, but of course is not really that much better in any other aspects of the game. Max says that she wouldn't be surprised if Iga were to win in Rome. Yeah, I mean, of course she's the main favorite, right? But and she's the two-time defending champion as well. So especially with Sabalenka out, but I don't know if Sabalenka would have proven so difficult for her on like slower clay conditions. I don't really know it. So I guess we're not gonna know until Paris, which maybe makes it even spicier, maybe makes it even more interesting. Stefano Napolitano is in a third set against Alex Molchan. I actually was talking about this match a little bit earlier with a friend of mine, and we were thinking that like the matchup maybe isn't great with for Napolitano, but he clearly has been overperforming in this event already, and that Molchan is not really that stable right now, right? So yeah, not as surprised as I would be maybe if Napolitano hadn't played so well in the qualies already. But yeah, soon in a second we're gonna be back, of course, to the Arnaldi Schwartzman match. I'm just gonna look at the women's results as well. Oh, Townsend won. I saw that she won the first set. That's actually quite surprising given the the slow conditions in Rome. Although I suppose they don't favor Pegula as well. But like Townsend with her all court game, you'd think that it's not that good for her, but apparently not the case. Anything crazy otherwise? Of course, disregarding the Kenin Sabalenka match. Yeah, I haven't. I only saw the last game. I don't think Sabalenka has ever been like a huge threat in Rome or Paris, right? Like in Rome, she has made runs, but Paris hasn't been a good slam for her. She's generally not that successful in these conditions, but of course, there's still it's still a huge story, right? Like undeniably. It is a huge story because, of course, she's just won Madrid and beating the world number one in the final, and I guess that really helps Świątek's case for staying at number one, right? But she still needs to defend Roland Garros and Rome, I think, to like be certain that she will remain there. Of course, she is the main favorite for both events. And there's also another upset maybe brewing here: Anna Bogdan, Caroline Garcia. But again, in Rome, I don't know if that's that much of an upset. And Garcia has never been a player we could expect consistency from, right? So let's maybe stick with that. Anytime two Americans are on clay, it's going to be ugly tennis. Some of them can play. Oh, there was also a question from Maria Brandenburg. Hi, Damien. Do you think Daniel Medvedev will win a match in Rome? Let me maybe check who he's playing because I absolutely don't remember. I think there was like some spicy matchup in there, but I cannot possibly possibly remember. Oh, Emil Rusuvuori. Ooh. Um, I'd say he has a very good chance. On these courts in Rome, Rusuvuori is not a clay expert. Rusuvuori is probably a lot better in Madrid than in Rome, I would say. Of course, he almost eliminated Alcaraz. And yeah, in general, he just hasn't been successful in his career on clay. He made the final of a challenger in 2019, I think. That was Augsburg. I don't think this event is held anymore. But that was like when he had his big breakthrough through challengers. That was around the time when he beat Team in Davis Cup as well. So like he was just clearly on the rise, and it didn't really matter which surface he was playing on. He was just so good at that point in time. And but since he hasn't done much on clay, and like these courts in Rome, maybe they're not good for Medvedev in basically any other aspect than just the fact that it's slow and he can draw out errors from his opponents. But he can do it. And after that, even he has a pretty nice draw, right? Zapata, Miralles, Kubler. He has been historically unsuccessful against Hurkacz, and also Zverev, of course, just pushed him in Monte Carlo. He would probably be pushed him. I mean, he basically won the match. It was a miracle that Medvedev survived. So I would say the fourth round would be a good result for Medvedev here already. Hurkacz, Zverev, I think both would have a very good chance at eliminating him. Rusuvuori, I don't know if I see it. Maybe if it's like, I don't know, sunny, hot, plays a bit faster, but doesn't sound like it's that possible for Rusuvuori to dispatch him, I think. Ria says though that she feels that it might take a miracle for him to even beat Rusuvuori in round two, which is an interesting claim. I don't think he's that terrible, like on clay, right? Like he can still move around it quite well. He can still he can still keep the ball in play. Of course, the maybe the flat strokes don't penetrate the surface that well. Maybe he's a little less in on the attack. He can be less threatening. I suppose he has never won a match in Rome, though, so that's maybe why we're talking about this. Yeah. Kyrgios. Yeah, I remember that match, of course. Yeah, and Karatsev last year. Last year, 2021. Karatsev, of course, also just beat him in Madrid, but I don't know. I think he probably will beat Rusuvuori. I don't know if he's as big a favorite as the odds say he is, but I would say he is definitely the favorite there for me. Um, do you see Carlos winning in Rome? Asks Max as well. Sorry that I haven't really talked about Arnaldi Schwartzman in a while, but just keeping up with the comments has been a lengthy affair. If you like talking as much as I do, and talking tennis, haha. But anyway, Arnaldi is 4-1 up, 4-1 up, And there's an interesting stat about the average rally length on serve, which shouldn't really surprise you that Arnaldi has the shorter ones. His serve is actually like very underrated. Maybe not anymore even, but I remember last year when he started playing on hard courts, it was just clear that really like he's getting a lot of first serve points, just just for free, just easy points on first serve. That's a fantastic drop shot from Arnaldi as well. I mean, so far he is enjoying himself out there. You can see it, like he's laughing with the crowd and etc. Not laughing at Schwartzman, of course, but just happy that he played such a stunner. And yeah, he's just playing very positive, very free flowing tennis. I guess what you would expect from him after a great run in Madrid and just sort of yeah, grabbing that tour level experience. Let's maybe watch this point and I'll return to the Carlos winning Rome thing. Um, okay, that's some nice angles from Schwartzman, and he finds his opening. Fantastic defense from Arnaldi though, and my stream just lagged, but I think he's won it. Yeah, what a point. That defensive scrambling was definitely something that first, like at first glance, that was something you loved from Arnaldi when he was first making his way to the tour. But yeah, then over the past year or so, he has developed his aggressive game as well, and I think it was always something that I also like envied, maybe envied. No, envied is not the right word, but that I admired about him. Because he was really willing to, even though he was not comfortable dictating play at first, he was just willing to try, even if it meant losing that game, even if it meant losing that point. And you could see that in the long run, it's going to be good for him. This drop shot does not make it in though, so it's fairly all. Carlos Alcaraz winning in Rome. Um, yeah. I don't know because he won Madrid. It's gonna be some mental and physical toll from winning Barcelona and Madrid, right? If Djokovic was like 100%, we knew if we knew that Djokovic was 100% fit, I would say Djokovic is the main favorite. He also needs Rome much more than Carlos does. The problem I think with Alcaraz is that I'm not saying he's gonna tank it or anything. I'm just saying there could be a moment when he has a tough match and like the body, the mind just aren't there anymore, and it wouldn't even be a setback if he loses in the quarters, if he loses in the fourth round, third round, not even. I don't think it would be a setback if he loses here. Now the question is who can he lose to, and it's actually not easy to answer this. Ramos Vignolas second round. I don't see a repeat of the match with Ramos Vignolas from Roland Garros last year happening. Like, I don't think this is possible anymore with how much better, how much more experienced Carlos is, but also with ARV, yeah, just declining quite rapidly of late. So, wow, that's a huge forehand return from Arnaldi. I mean, he is flying out there absolutely, and he takes another break, 5-1. And yeah, he's just overwhelming Schwartzman completely. I think this has been fantastic from Arnaldi. So like, um, in that sense, you maybe can't really blame the Argentinian, but of course, you feel like in his prime he would have the ability to stand up to Arnaldi playing like this. While at this point in time, it basically seems like Schwartzman has to be just hoping that Arnaldi drops off this level, which it probably will happen. Like, I don't think he'll be playing for a full hour like this. Some very negative body language from Schwartzman as well, but I can't really blame him because it is looking quite dire. And again, it's a very similar situation as I was talking about in that Cagliari match with Matteo Berrucci, where he just doesn't have a way to win points. There's just not enough not bite in his game. There's just not enough pop in his strokes. It's hard to see how he should be winning this because like sheer consistency is not working because Arnaldi is just as consistent and then has that aggression, and he's just won another fantastic point. Anyway, yeah, I kind of struggle to see who can eliminate Alcaraz. Choric, Evans, Carballes, Baena. I don't know. Choric did give him a good fight in Madrid. I think it will be tougher for him in Rome, though. It will be slightly tougher for Alcaraz too, maybe. But yeah, beating him actually, I don't know. Pushing him, maybe. Maybe Choric is that sort of rival. Alcaraz can play Maroshan in the third round, which would be low-key interesting, I think. if Maroshan serves well and like plays his brand of tennis, which is just end the point in 4 shots no matter what, hit insane drop shots, I could see him upsetting Alcaraz. Still, this has been like today. Maroshan had his ATP Tour main draw debut against Mutay, so he isn't he hasn't really been tested against top quality opposition. Now, do I think he can beat top quality opposition? Yes, but he is very inconsistent, and that's mostly related to like the play style. So I think he could come out and just actually beat Alcaraz, but he could just as well win 2 games against him. So I wouldn't really be calling. That's not gonna be my like upset pick. Maroshan over Alcaraz, and first of all, Maroshan first has to beat Hečka. So if Alcaraz just pushes through these 3-4 rounds, then he actually becomes probably the main favorite again, I think. But for now, I don't know if winning Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome back to back is something that easy. Then again, like if it's not Djokovic, like if Djokovic isn't at his best, then Alcaraz might even have a good run to the final, right? Like without any threats to him. Are we counting Tsitsipas as a threat to Alcaraz at this point? Probably not, right? Are we counting Musetti because he beat him in Hamburg? Not really. So yeah, he's definitely among the main favorites. That would have been an insane shot if Arnaldi made it, and he actually thought he did. But the chair umpire, I think it's Greg Allensworth, but I'm not sure, is correctly saying that it was out. It was actually out by quite a lot. So um, yeah, I'm surprised that Arnaldi did not seemingly didn't know this. Happy for Kenyon and Townsend, says Matthew. Yeah, Matthew also mentions the prize money discrepancy between the male and women events here, but that's of course it's not great that it exists, but that's because on the WTA side, the WTA 1000 is like category is not always the same. It's not actually a mandatory. Rome is not a mandatory event, and yeah, that's why the prize money isn't like in Indian Wells, Miami. It's actually much smaller, but yeah, something other, not really. Oh, there's more. There's more. What do you mean, Ghosty, with the $20? I'm not sure because you're already saying that for the second time, and I'm not sure. Do you want to like wager something with me on something I said, or I actually stopped. Yeah, I'm actually not sure I'm following. Can't remember saying anything about $20, but maybe I said. Could Umber get into the top 20? He fell down the rankings quite a lot, but I like his game. It's theoretically possible. He was also one of the players who I got to watch in Cagliari last week, and like you could clearly see what makes him good, right? Like he was absolutely like the ball striking quality is undeniable. Um, he also started playing a lot better on clay than he was in the past. By the way, Arnaldi takes the first set 6-1, 29 minutes. 2 winners from Schwartzman to 8 unforced errors and a 9-9 for Arnaldi. But yeah, the quality from Arnaldi has been absolutely excellent, and Schwartzman has nothing to reply with, and that's the same as in the Bellucci match. 25-13 and total points won. Absolute domination, of course. We'll see if there's some other interesting stats. Not many first serves made by Arnaldi, but when he does, he wins a lot of points. Actually, when he doesn't make them, he also wins 75% of points. Anything else interesting, really? Actually, Schwartzman is hitting with more power on both the forehand and the backhand, which is really interesting because you would not say it just from watching this. Arnaldi, I guess, is just choosing the balls to unleash on, which sounds fair actually with his game. Umber into the top 20, I think it's very possible. He's fantastic indoors. He's an excellent grass courter. There's plenty of points there. Of course, he would have been already higher in the rankings if not for Wimbledon not awarding points because he made the third round. Third round is just 90 points, but still, that's like winning a challenger and not even one of the smaller categories. Yeah, I think it's theoretically possible in the future for sure. Worse players have done it, and his post striking is really fantastic. And yeah, he seems to be in a good spot mentally as well, and working with Jeremy Chardy since last year. Definitely not as when he was in that, when he was not as poor as when he was in that hole a couple of years back. Well, not even a couple of years back, 12 months ago. I think 12 months ago. Golf Putintseva, yeah, I haven't seen it either. I know the score, but I think Novak might struggle tomorrow, says Matthew. Upset alert, maybe. Yeah, let me remember who is he playing. I think it was like Echeverry or right, Echeverry or Vanash maybe. And I think Echeverry won that match. It is possible. Like if Djokovic is not gonna be ready, Echeverry is probably like the kind of opponent that could do something. I think to him. Like he's just a very very good grinder slash huge forehand, right? So um, it depends on Djokovic being poor, being off, being rusty, whatever, being maybe hampered by some physical issues as he was in Monte Carlo. But yeah, it is a playstyle that could bother Djokovic, I think, if he is not at his very very best. Because it's not something like, for example, Djokovic struggled with Gakov or Musetti, right, in Monte Carlo. These guys probably have more unpleasant games for him than Thomas Martin Echeverry does. But I do think that he's good enough to trouble him if Djokovic isn't gonna be at his very best. Arnaldi has made every single first serve return so far, which is very interesting. But actually, Schwartzman has made a ton too, 88%. Maybe the Argentinian can get off to a good start in this set because Arnaldi just missed like an that would be inside out, I suppose, backhand winner. Well, it was an attempt to get a winner. And that's a nice serve plus one from Schwartzman. So finally getting some bite on his backhand. Even though he has been hitting it's stronger, faster than Arnaldi, which doesn't sound right. My favorite part of Polish players is getting up with American missiles. $20. Jesus, still don't know what the $20 is about, but okay. Tennis establishment. Yes. If Alcaraz was due to play Rune or someone tricky in the QFs, I could see Carlos exiting, but I can't see him. Can't see. I don't know. I can't see anyone KO him pre semifinals. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's Tsitsipas if he's like worn out, tired, right? But of course, Carlos has been a nightmare matchup for Tsitsipas. So Sean says Alcaraz can win at 70% of his best. Tough to disagree. Have you heard about Juan Martin Del Potro playing in the U.S. Open? Yeah, he is training apparently. Would be good to see him like playing some good stuff again. I don't know how serious this will be. Maybe he gets a good result at the U.S. Open, and maybe he plays like one more. I don't know, a couple more events. Who knows? But of course, the way he went out was pretty sad, right? Playing Del Bonis in that whatever that was, Buenos Aires or Rio, Buenos Aires, I think he was supposed to play Rio and then withdrew. And yeah, just being unable to move, Del Bonis drop shotting him like crazy. It wasn't a great look for him, like to go out on. But of course, the guy's career has been destroyed by injuries. I was actually just watching today. I watched the highlights of Chardy playing Del Potro in 2013 at the Australian Open because I was just glancing at Jeremy Chardy's records over the years, and I was I wanted to see that win because it was the biggest one that Chardy had in his only Grand Slam quarterfinal. And yeah, it was also Del Potro coming back after some injury issues or something. But yeah, just seeing that forehand in full flight was great. Maybe not necessarily in full flight. He lost to Chardy in the third round at Melbourne, but he actually never had any strong runs at the Australian Open, I think. Well, a quarterfinal once, but then he won 3 games against Federer, which was the very same year when he then beat him at the US Open and pushed him at the French as well. So clearly the progress there was quite rapid for Delpo because in Melbourne he was just he looked like he was a boy, I suppose, or boyish. But yeah, he was just like a kid, Federer was absolutely toying with him. But that maybe makes the story of him winning the US Open that year even better. Good thing about clay is that they, despite the bad weather, they can. No, yeah. The fact that in some light rain you can play, for sure is pretty nice. Just when the tournaments have covers for the courts, that's the good side of clay as well. You can just cover the court. Of course, you can cover any other court, but when you don't, there's of course it gets muddy. It's not just the question of draining the water or like whatever. I hope Delpo is not coming back for financial reasons. Yeah, that's another part of that. um I guess that's another part of this, right? That there was that big news story about Del Potro losing all of his money because of his father or something like that. So yeah, hopefully that's not the comeback. I agree. The guy deserves better for sure. He was always such a nice presence at tournaments as well, right? And generally one of the more well, at least from the outlook that we get from outside, one of the nicest guys out there. Matthew also says that maybe Zverev can be a thorn to in Alcaraz's side, which it is possible, but it was possible at Roland Garros because he was defending like crazy and he was on the absolute top of his game. He very well could have won Roland Garros if not for the injury. If he wins the second set tiebreak against Rafa, he's probably the favorite to win the match. I think just based on how they were looking physically, and against Ruud, of course, he would be the favorite again. So yeah, I think Alcaraz is kind of susceptible to this still, but you need to execute this at like the top possible level. Is that possible right now for Zverev? I guess we saw in Madrid, right? But um, well, it would maybe be slightly easier for him in like Rome or Garros, even though Madrid has always been his favorite. But yeah, Carlos just neutralized the serve so well. Sorry for the yawning. I have no clue how Novak traveled between Rome and Milan. Um, yeah, and Sean also says that he wants a bigger farewell. I mean, he retired at Buenos Aires, right? I think maybe not necessarily bigger, but just more on his terms could be the answer, right? Because in Buenos Aires, yeah, as I said, it was just not a good one to exit on. I think playing Del Bonis, not moving, getting drop shotted 1,000 times, which I don't blame Del Bonis for. I know some people did, but um, that's also one of the ways you show respect to your opponent. I think if they have a liability, if they have something you can expose, you should do it. I mean, you're playing Juan Martin del Potro. You respect him, of course, for what he's done, and you know that he can maybe just turn on the hammer forehand and suddenly it gets complicated, right? So I never really blamed Del Bonis for this, but it was an ugly finish to what was a very start stop, but a beautiful career anyway. And yeah, the forehand of Del Potro will be mentioned in conversations for decades to come. It's in that very same league as Federer, Nadal, Fernando Gonzalez, and the likes. So Ivan Lendl, maybe a little different in terms of like the usage. Probably the main comparison would be like Fernando Gonzalez. So maybe not necessarily an all-time great, but yeah, someone who will be remembered mostly for their forehand. Of course, with Delpo, it's also easier because he's had so many big wins compared to Fenia Gonzalez, and also had that U.S. Open title, which makes a big difference. With Gonzalez being the runner-up at the Australian Open once, and that being his best achievement. Also to Federer, of course, and he was very close to winning the first set. But yeah, we will remember Delpo. We will be talking about Delpo anyway, especially about that bullet forehand. But also as an example of a player, I guess, who was constantly injured, maybe was a little lucky. Haha, no, not really lucky, but ooh, that's a great volley from Schwartzman. Probably he shouldn't have played it at him, Arnaldi. but really nice reaction from the Argentinian. I've actually seen some suggestions that maybe Schwartzman could, continue his career in doubles. I wonder if that's something that he could think of. But of course, for now, I don't think he's on the verge of retirement in singles. But some people seem to. Sorry, I keep yawning. But some people seem to suggest so, seem to think so. But he is pretty damn good in doubles for not having a serve, actually. Loved his doubles matches with John Isner for obvious reasons, such a contrast. Arnaldi has been going for the drop shot a lot, and I think that's a not up call. I'm not watching without sound, so either it was a not up call or he just didn't attempt to catch the next shot from Arnaldi. I'm not sure, but we can probably see on the replay. Yeah, he did not make it. Okay, he did not make it before the second bounce. Yeah, so it's back to deuce. Lots of that good forehand drop shots from Arnaldi, especially cross court. Uh, I mean, cross court from the regular forehand position, because when he was going for a few drop shots inside out, I mean, do people even say this? I guess you can. I guess you can classify drop shots that way as well. But when he was going for them, I guess they didn't really work out. But these simple, regular cross court ones definitely have. And that's a missed forehand from Arnaldi to give Schwartzman another game point. So yeah, of course, the Argentina is just hoping to win a few games here and hope that something is going to work out for him. And so far, this set has been much stronger from him. The big question is whether he can threaten the Arnaldi serve next, if he holds, of course. He is still really fast, and like the movement is excellent. That's another good forehand drop shot. This one is down the line though, and Schwartzman does not make it. So back to deuce. Yeah, I mean, Schwartzman is moving very well around the court still, 100%, right? He is also like good at using the momentum of his movement to counter punch, basically, and also, of course, use the pace to counter the punches. And he is really good at that. But how do you really win points here? How does he do it? I'm not sure he really has that anymore. He had that wonderful backhand down the line, for example. Maybe it's a confidence thing, maybe he's just not going for it that much. Interestingly, like even when he had a pretty poor year last year, he was still on top of like the return leaderboards. So he's clearly still a very good returner, and he is very fast. But yeah, the attacking game just isn't really there. And just as I'm saying this, he nets a forehand that was maybe not ultra short, but it was definitely one that he should have done more with. I mean, it wouldn't be tough to do more with it. He just had to get it over the net. So far, Arnaldi is 2-2 on 2-2. I mean, he has converted both breakpoints he created. Schwartzman hasn't had one yet, despite the low 30 in the opening set. I can't remember the game, but there was one. And this time Arnaldi goes for a backhand drop shot, but he nets it. Who do you think will win between Stan and Grigor tomorrow? And also Max says that I hope there's a new up and coming player from Argentina one day. I mean, like slam winning sort of talent. I wonder if they have someone like that right now. For a while, it seemed like maybe Baez, could be an answer like this. Um, Everyone expected that France Rundolo will be better than Juan Manuel. It's kind of hard to see Juan Manuel winning big titles, I guess. I wonder if there are any other youngsters. I had some high hopes for Tirante back in the day. He, I think, has broken the top 150 just now, but also plenty of limitations with how his backhand looks. I think in the future, maybe there's a lot of guys who can be in the top 100, like Diaz Acosta, of course, the Lautaro Midon, a very talented 18-year-old, or maybe 19 at this point. I think he recently turned 19. But yeah, slam winning talent. I haven't seen it yet, at least, I think, in any of the young Argentinians. Anyway, who do you think will win between Stan and Grigor tomorrow? Pretty tough. I saw they were like seven. Wawrinka leads the head-to-head 7-5 on clay. They're tied. Arnaldi wastes another breakpoint, by the way, backhand unforced error. And on clay, they were also tied. Wawrinka and Dimitrov 2-all in their rivalry. I think I've said it on a few talking tennis streams already, but I think Wawrinka is really playing quite well this clay swing. He just hasn't really turned it into results, but I think he's due a good run. And even if you look at like the recent matches that he lost, right? In Monte Carlo, he lost to Fritz, blowing 5 set points in the opener. In Banja Luka, he lost to Van Asch. Okay, not really a good loss or something, if there are ever good losses. But he was 6-1, 5-all, a love, 40 love up on the Van Asch serve. He had multiple chances to finish off this match. It shouldn't have gone free. Then he lost to Rublev in Madrid, also a pretty competitive match. Maybe it's a bit of a struggle that he went toe to toe with Cressy. But yeah, I think Stan, over the past few months, he has been playing the best he's been since his comeback. The worst part for him, though, is that he is getting increasingly well. He is getting older. He seems to have declined a bit physically as well, which is very fair at his age, of course, at the stage of his career that he's in. And Dimitrov is someone that could expose it, right? But I actually like Wawrinka's chances. I think the older he gets, I think he actually has become even better on slower courts because he can just have all the time in the world to set up for his strokes. And when he can set up for them, when he maybe lost a little bit of that dynamic movement, but when he actually just can stand and blast the ball, he's still, of course, one of the most talented ball strikers out there. So, and generates pace out of nothing, like basically no one else. So, do you see Goff or Rybakina as serious contenders for Rome or Paris? Rybakina, not necessarily. Like, I don't think she's terrible on clay. I think she's just okay though. Like, yeah. I mean, she's just okay on clay. She is not amazing. She's probably not gonna win these events. I don't think so. Goff, um, pretty similarly like it was last year or 2 years back, maybe not. But clay is definitely where she gets the most chances because it's just tougher to attack her forehand. I mean, and even when it's like not attacked, it can leak errors. But when she just has a lot of time to produce that stroke, right? And that's what she needs. I think she is a very good contender to make the final, the semi-final, the quarterfinal in Rome and Paris. I just don't know if she's a contender to win the whole thing. The player on the other side of the draw is probably going to be either a better or like just able to expose her weaknesses, or B, just in very good form, very good shape, having made the finals and also not having as many exposable weaknesses or whatever you want to call it in the game. So the answer is to win, no. To go deep, absolutely. Rybakina, I think she's just very vulnerable. Of course, just like with every other player. Um, of course, with just like with every other player, if she wins a few rounds, it becomes very possible. But you know why this is actually it's just hard to name many serious contenders for either event. There is a bit of a lack of clay court experts right now on the WTA tour, I would say. Is that fair? Like, there's of course Iga Świątek, 100%. There's Arena Sabalenka who just won Madrid, but well, the assumption is that she is not going to be as good in Paris or Rome. Rome, you've already seen. Pegula is again, like she is pretty good on clay, but she has the same issues as on every other surface, right? Where she cannot beat the top opposition. We've seen it countless times. Garcia, in Madrid, on like a little faster clay. Yes, in Rome, Paris, I don't know. Maybe doable, but it's not easy. By the way, Moljan defeated Napolitano, and Garcia actually prevailed over Bogdan 7-5 in the third. So, speaking of Garcia, she is still in the event. But like she is not a clay courter, right? That's basically what I'm saying. There's just no high quality clay court specialists on the WTA tour right now. But for Świątek, I think. Goff, of course, is one. But Goff, as we mentioned, I mean, she has very similar issues to like Pegula and etc. She runs into the first decent opponent, and the forehand doesn't hold up. Rybakina definitely not. Jabeur, she is good on clay. She is good on clay. She's just not in great shape. Sakari, again, issues with going deep. Kasatkina is good on clay, but again, like issues with top opposition. So it's just really hard, you know. Krejcikova, of course, won Roland Garros. But well, she just lost to Martic in Madrid. Maybe Rome and Paris are actually going to be better for her. So like Krejcikova could be one of the, well, not clay specialists because she does well everywhere, but yeah, just players who can do well in Paris or Rome. But yeah, there's just not that many specialists, you know. And I think this has been going on for a while. We saw when Świątek lost to Sakari in Roland Garros 2020 at Roland Garros 2021. We saw how wild that tournament was, right? Zidansek, Tamara Zidansek in the semis, Pavlyuchenkova and Krejcikova in the final. Of course, Krejcikova has since proven that this was not random. Pavlyuchenkova, well, I mean, she was injured. Maybe she didn't really get the chance to prove it, but like it was a pretty random run. As you know, Zidansek, of course, it was a pretty random run, even though she has an excellent clay forehand and yeah, still, it was still a pretty a bit of a flash in the pan. So I think this has been going on for a while. Of course, in 2020, Świątek won Roland Garros, and like what the only, I mean, Sofia Kenin, okay, counted as a very high quality opponent back then, but of course there was also Halep in the fourth round, and that was like really it. It really felt like Halep Świątek. This was the match for the title in the fourth round. In 2022, Świątek just crashed the whole field, right? The closest match that she got was from Qinwen Zheng, and I'm only talking about the first set because she was apparently well, not feeling well after the opener. Zheng, that is, of course. But still, like she had no competition. She had Coco Gauff in the final, and both the men's and the women's finals were just absolute boredom, right? Blowouts, and the other player had nothing to do there, and it was the same for Gauff. Trevisan was in the semis, right? Um, that's been going on for a while. The WTA Tour is very open on slow clay. It is not particularly open on fast clay like Madrid or Stuttgart because you've got players like Sabalenka, players like Karolina Pliskova. Maybe not right now, but she has historically been really good in Stuttgart. Um, Petra Kvitova has been amazing at Madrid some years. So like there's been some good competition on in these events. Rome, Paris, they are really really open. Other than of course Świątek. I'm just saying, you know, Świątek, and then the rest is like there's a huge gap, and the rest of the, let's say, semifinal spots are really open in most of these events. And that's why in 2021, when Świątek lost, we had this very wild Roland Garros. But it has been going on for even longer than this. 2019, Ash Barty wins Roland Garros, which, you know, right now, of course, we all are extremely everyone just respects her so much, and she was already respected back then a little bit, but she was like very underrated still. Everyone was she wasn't really getting the results that she started getting after that. And clay was always her weakest surface as well, with the slice not just sitting up a little bit too much. Oh, that's a nice point from Schwartzman though. He still hasn't won it though. That's some insane scrambling again from Arnaldi, and I kind of feel for Schwartzman because he stepped into his forehand and actually found a great angle. Just another unreal get from the young Italian. 2-0 in the second set. So yeah, I think over the past 5 years or so, in 2018, I think it was Simona Halep beating Sloane Stephens in the final, right? Perfectly fine. Of course, Stephens was just after her US Open title. Halep, amazing clay courter. She is not in the picture right now. So yeah, I think outside of Świątek, it is really open, and that makes like Goff and Goff, especially not Rybakina maybe, but that makes Goff a very very serious contender to go so deep in Paris or Rome. But at the same time, winning the title, if Świątek is out, maybe possible, but still probably not. Like if she just finds another top quality opponent there. If Świątek is in the picture, very hard to see Goff winning a title in Rome or Paris. Yeah, Krejcikova said Matthew 6 minutes ago, which means that my very long rant was around that length. Actually, well, it looks like from the viewing stats that some people left because of it. But yeah, I've never really thought about this topic, so I was kind of figuring stuff along the way. But yeah, the competition on the WTA Tour on clay in the past couple of years hasn't really been there. There's just a lack of slow clay specialists, and yeah, I think it really leaves the field wide open if Świątek was to lose early or something like this. How likely is it that she will? Of course, not that likely, but it is a possibility. There are some dangerous opponents waiting there in the early runs. And another, I mean, not another quick hold because the last one was anything but quick, but that's a quick hold from Schwartzman. And he is free to up, so maybe there's still something going on here. And yeah, I suppose that's it on the WTA clay contenders topic, which I kind of, well, the question wasn't really even about that, but that's talking tennis for you right there. You ask a question about something else, and then the guy goes on a 10 minute. Yeah, and then the guy just goes on a 10 minute rant about the state of the tour. That's what we do here. Anyway, free to up Schwartzman, as I said. Maybe let's watch the match a little bit. But of course, I'm definitely awaiting your any other questions, comments, and I will be happy to talk about whatever. And as I usually say, this makes it a lot more interesting and just easier. So so yeah, excited to talk to you about whatever basically. We've had like almost an hour of this match already, which Schwartzman has kept it more competitive in the second set, which is nice from him. Let's see if he can do anything on the Arnaldi serve, which I think he just made some inroads in the previous game of the Italian, and yeah, it's not like on this clay court, Arnaldi should be claiming his games easily. Even though, as I said, I do think that his first serve is actually very underrated. Yeah, and Molchan beat Napolitano, so no upset there, although it would have been quite monumental. Well, the inroads that Schwartzman made in the previous game was just a deuce, but this was like the most competitive game that Arnaldi has had so far. He, in fact, has only lost 6 points on serve thus far, which would be in how many service games? Let me check. Six. So he's losing 1 point per service game on clay. Yeah, against Schwartzman, who, as I said, even when he had a disastrous year in 2022, he was still very much on top of the return leaderboards. So it is surprising to say the least. Another forehand drop shot this time actually does damage to Arnaldi as Schwartzman tracks it down, and then the Italian can't come up with the short angled backhand pass. Interesting, because the drop shot over the course of the match has definitely started becoming a bit more of a double-edged sword for Arnaldi. Maybe Diego is just starting to read it better. I think that serve was probably in. Arnaldi does think so too, but no, not anymore. After he saw the mark, I didn't. But I actually. Oh, and we see it on the Hawkeye, and wow, I mean, Hawkeye claims that it was in. How accurate is that? Who knows, right? That's why it's not used, of course, in the well, generally not used, okay? Because the accuracy of it is much, much smaller than on any other surface because of the moving particles of clay. This time Schwartzman goes to the net, ventures there, and loses the point though. Very similar reaction volley to that one from the first set, which was so stunning, but the execution here was very, well, wasn't very good. Arnaldi didn't do that much with it either. He still gave Schwartzman the volley, but well, it was at least moderately tough with with the shot being hit um, a lot lower than the height of the net. Is that a good return? Arnaldi seems to stop play. Seems to have stopped play. Yeah, actually, I think the yeah, it's the line umpire who called out and was not correct. So there's gonna be a replay. Schwartzman is gutted, and I can't blame him because he was in control of that point after a very, very deep return. This one is similarly deep though, and he again has the the lead in the rally, if you may. He has kind of surrendered it though with how short and powerless the last couple of forehands seem to be. But he does find a nice backhand down the line, and Arnaldi can't quite get to it on the slide. I couldn't believe when I checked Diego's ranking. Says John. I mean, it's not the end of his the ranking decline yet. You know, he is 91st right now, but he is also I think dropping Roland Garros round 4 soon, right? So that's gonna be a massive hit. Roland Garros round 4 is was it round 4? He played Djokovic, right? He beat Jaume Munar from 2 sets to love down. Let me quickly check that. Yeah, fourth round basically. So there's also a third round at the US. So currently, out of his 660 points live, that's after already without points from Rome last year. Maybe this time he gets a couple of breakpoints on the Arnaldi serve, by the way, but the Italian cleans up the first one with an ace. But 270 points from Schwartzman's ranking of 660 right now are from Roland Garros and the US Open. So yeah, there's still so much to lose there. And without the 180 points from Roland Garros, if he loses in the opening round, he would be actually where Fabian Maroshan is in the rankings right now. So like 127, 128. And that's the reality. That's probably where Schwartzman is going to be soon. And that's why I'm saying that in the second half of the year, he's probably going to have to play a lot of South American clay challengers. Will he be winning them? I think with some time, with some confidence on his side, maybe he can start doing that. But like right now, if you throw him into a challenger with, the likes of Varia, Scoria, the maybe not the Serundolos, because Fran Serundolo is not going to be playing them. Like Juan Manuel Serundolo, Diaz Acosta. I'm just naming Argentinians, by the way, but whoever, Monteiro, Galan, and etc. I don't think he would be winning these events, not at all. Anyway, there's a third breakpoint after Arnaldi cleaned up the first two with good serves and plus one shots, and again, huge serve and a +1 forehand that could probably kill a very large animal if the ball hit it. It's good the line umpire was quick enough to hide from it even. Yeah, 158 kilometers an hour. So I wasn't wrong there. That should be about 100 miles an hour, I think, in your weird system. So Arnaldi so far finding his way out of trouble with just huge serves and +1 shots, but he's not out of the woods yet. It's still deuce. There was some very nice angle from the of the backhand for him, but they're back to rallying down the middle. What a counter, though. It seemed like Schwartzman had opened up the court for himself, finding a good forehand. Very tough angle because down the middle he had to create something and actually pushed out wide Arnaldi very wide, but the Italian on the run just blasts the ball and Schwartzman can't quite get it over the net. Really impressive he has been, Arnaldi, in this one, I have to say. Of course, if you don't remember, Matteo Arnaldi made the third round in Madrid last week, I suppose, 2 weeks ago. But of course, with the system, I think we can say last week. And he beat Casper Ruud along the way, which was the biggest win of his career. Not that much main tour experience so far, but clearly belongs at this level, at least in the 51 to 100 ranking range. We'll see about more, but he has developed his game massively in terms, just of power and comfort level on the attack. He was also supposed to be in Cagliari, and I was excited to watch him because I have not seen him live yet. I think he was also expected in Szczecin last year, but then withdrew. So Oh no, actually, I'm stupid. That was Passaro. I absolutely forgot that I watched Arnaldi last year. Of course, he he beat Cobolli in the second round in Szczecin, and it was like a crazy match with him going down love 0-4 in one set and winning it 6-4, I think. And he also lost to Denis Novak maybe in the quarterfinals. So yeah, I actually watched Arnaldi live. I'm an idiot. No, he lost to Corentin Moutet. I'm sorry. There was some other Italian that I'm thinking. What? No, Arnaldi did not play Cobolli. It was Brancaccio. What am I even talking about? He beat Vavasori and Taberner. Yeah, he crashed Taberner. Okay, now I remember. But yeah, apparently I also watched Arnaldi in Vilnius in October 2022. I love when this happens, when you think that you haven't watched the guy live, and then it suddenly turns out that you've watched him 5 times. You just don't remember it. But that's not because he didn't make an impression. I actually did. He actually did make an impression, and I remember being very impressed. I remember being very just satisfied with the way with the balance of his game, with how he was able to um with how he was able to play so well both on the attack and the defense. Again, had that pretty good first serve, which was definitely underrated, maybe still is. And in Vilnius he did not leave any mark. He lost to Cem Ilkel, actually the eventual runner-up in the opening round, and was pretty crashed, but it was like right after his final in Saint-Tropez, so quickly jumping from outdoors to indoors. It was very explainable, and Chamilkal is an excellent indoors player too. Nothing really that poor there, but in Szczecin he was more impressive. I absolutely forgot, I was really hoping to see Arnaldi live in Cagliari because I was like, yeah, I have to see him before before he is on the main tour, right? And it turns out that I already watched him in 4 matches. Amazing. Um, and it's kind of funny, like how few tournaments you have to go to in order for this to start happening. Like, I don't know, you go to 10 tournaments over the course of like a year or two, and you're already gonna have this. Like, you're already not gonna remember every single match, and like who you watched live and who you haven't yet, especially in these early days of the tournament, right, when there's like 4 matches and you're trying to watch it all at the same time. I mean, 4 matches at the same time. I mean, of course I remember that. Who was in the semifinals of sorry, I keep yawning. Who was in the semifinals of a certain event that I watched, but like not necessarily the first round and etc. Uh, that's crazy. Schwartzman hits a good forehand and falls down. I guess just the sort of momentum of the impact of the moment when he struck the ball. He also seems to have injured his hand a little bit. But maybe does it require medical attention? I'm actually not sure. No, it looks like he is just going to wipe it off with his racket. What happened here? Oh no, okay, yeah, yeah. When he hit the ball, he just sort of, both his feet were on the ground, and I think his center of gravity was a little too forward. Um, it was a little too in front. I don't know how to call it, but you get what I mean. And anyway, I mean that forehand still earned him the point and earned him the chance to finish this game. And it looks like he probably will finish it. Yes, a lot more positive now, a lot more inspired. What happened there? Did Arnaldi? Okay, looks like Arnaldi had like a bit of a cramp in his leg or something, but he's showing Schwartzman he's okay. Weird. I don't know if we're gonna get a replay of this or not. Maybe not. But anyway, 4-3 up. Um, and Max also said Dominic Thiem is playing a challenger in his home country. That's nice. Yeah, Mauthausen, and then he's gonna play Bordeaux, the 175 in France next week. Mauthausen is like on a little bit of altitude. I don't know if it's actually good for Thiem, but I think it might be a good choice to play these instead of Rome even. So far so good. I mean, for Thiem, he has defeated what's Uivari's name? I'm sorry, he's been like Matias, maybe. Yeah, maybe Matias Uivari. And he's beaten him and Federico Derbonis in the second round today. But frankly, right now, like he's gonna get some insane matches from now. I'm not sure he's actually gonna win this event. He's playing Dino Prismic tomorrow, so the very talented 17-year-old who's been killing the ITF tour and making inroads in challengers as well. He qualified for Banja Luka recently, beating Brody and Matteo Bellucci, whom we've already talked about during this stream. Liam Brody, always someone we mentioned because John did these interviews with his coach David Samuel. Also very familiar with him, of course, on this show. And yeah, it's hard to say how competitive Prismic will be against Thiem, but certainly you cannot really exclude the upset, and like it's just going to be a good match to watch. Like whatever happens, I actually think Thiem will probably win. I think Thiem could lose to Hamad Medjedovic in the semis though. Medjedovic loves these faster clay conditions as well. And I'm not sure, it's not a given that Medjedovic pushes through Denis Novak in the what will it be in the quarters. Of course, Denis Novak is a quality player, just coming back after an injury to his ankle that happened to him in Vilnius. I was actually watching that match live in February. And I think Medjedovic could be even a slight favorite against Novak. And I would love to see Thiem play Medjedovic in the semis. For what it's worth, Prismic Medjedovic would be an amazing semifinal as well. But I think Thiem Medjedovic would be something fantastic. Medjedovic is so raw and like has a lot of mental issues, and tactically he's not the best. There's a lot that could be polished up with experience in that way, but that's a wild volley from Arnaldi. But I do think that Medjedovic in the future is probably going to be just absurdly good. His ball striking is just that insane. So yeah, that's why I would love to see Thiem Medjedovic. And then even if he makes the final, it's also not a given because plenty of seeds made it far in Mauthausen, and he will play if he makes the final. Either one of Misolic, Bagnis, Ofner, and Gaston. Ofner just making challenger finals every single week this year, it seems. He hasn't won one yet, but has already won four. Sorry, made the finals in four, including last week in Prague. Gaston, of course, we all know him. Bagnis, Misolic, great players in altitude clay conditions. Slight altitude, it's like 200, 300 meters, but you can see it in how the court plays. Oh, or like more realistically in how the balls are flying, right? Because it's the atmosphere, not really how the court behaves. 15-0 in the Arnaldi 3-4 game. Of course, the most recent Arnaldi hold was really, really contentious. So Schwartzman will hoping for more. That's a pretty intelligent lob from Arnaldi, getting it over Schwartzman in a way where he needs to hit a high backhand overhead. And of course, that's one of the tougher shots in tennis, and the Argentinian does not land that. So 30-15, Arnaldi. It's been a good fight from Schwartzman in the second set, though. Ooh, nasty, nasty volley from the Italian. Serve volleys and perfect technique on that stop volley on the backhand side. His coach is having a lot of laughs in the crowd. Well, at least some of the people in his box are laughing. This other guy was like extremely serious, but not that it really matters. But an insane volley, really. He even apologizes, but it didn't seem like it was mishit, to be quite honest. Maybe he was just apologizing for how sick it was and like it barely bouncing. Um, but yeah, Arnaldi with 2 game points to go for all. Was I right, by the way, about Medvedev being the favorite against Novak? For the bookies, it's like slight favorite Novak, but I think Medvedev might actually be the favorite there. Oh wow! What the hell? Did he make it? He Holy Jesus! You're probably gonna see this. Yeah, you're probably gonna. Actually, Schwartzman wins the point. Arnaldi did not make it, but you're probably gonna see this rally on like Tennis TV or something. Schwartzman made a great get to drop shot, I think, or was it like that? Yeah, drop shot. Schwartzman drop shotted. He made a counter drop shot. Then Arnaldi found a nice angle, and Schwartzman forced him to hit a tweener, which was actually really, really good. And then that tweener was like very short, a very short angle, barely went over the net, not really like a typical one. And Schwartzman drop shot it again, and Arnaldi threw it. Arnaldi eventually threw it out. He just had so much speed, so much momentum going into that ball, and producing touch with it was always going to be tough. But what a rally anyway. You're probably going to see it on like, Twitter of Tennis TV or something. For all, as Schwartzman nets a backhand. Let's see. There's definitely like the Arnaldi is still in a very tough spot, of course. Sorry, Arnaldi, Schwartzman, because just one break and it could be interesting. Just started reading a group chat where there's like a friend of mine is very much rooting for Schwartzman, and it was pretty it's pretty funny to read simply. I mean, I don't have anything against Schwartzman, of course. I would probably like personally, I always tend to root for the not underdogs in this case, but like the next gen, the youngsters, the players we haven't really seen at the top level that much yet. I really like it when it's fresh. But yeah, Schwartzman is giving it a very good fight in the second set, and while the first one was definitely like just one to forget for him, right now he is really playing quite okay. Definitely far of what we know he can do, but he's just doing okay. Stefan was asking about the results a couple of minutes, 17 minutes ago, sorry. But they're on the screen. Arnaldi Schwartzman. I don't know if you want to ask about like any specific result from Rome today. Can also tell that to you, but we are. This is of course the last match of the day. Arnaldi Schwartzman. Because all the rest have already finished, with Garcia Bogdan and Molchan Napolitano going on for a pretty long time. There's a pretty tentative rally from Schwartzman, and it's Arnaldi who risks first, goes for the big backhand down the line, but then again tries to go for the drop shot, I think in a moment, in a spot where maybe it wasn't the best choice. Maybe if he made it, he still would have won the point though. But the technique on that was just erratic all over the place, and it's like hit the middle of the net basically. Another yawn, but this time I wasn't talking, so you didn't hear it. You only saw it if you're watching with video on. Pretty wild unforced error from Arnaldi now, and Schwartzman gets another couple of game points. Sorry. I think maybe when the changeover is here, I might like turn on something for you and just go grab a bite very quickly. But I'll see about that. Oh, Max, what are your thoughts on the newcomer player Arthur Fils? I think he's absolutely insane. I think he's going to be fantastic. Very rare, I think, is to be this complete and this explosive at the same time. The shot making potential on his forehand is really maybe the closest we have to Alcaraz right now on the tour, I would say. Like out of the coming upcoming youngsters, maybe Bingu is probably there as well. But yeah, I do think that he has like an absolute top 10 future or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong about this. Over the past couple of years, probably since I first saw him play, which was like in 2021 in the spring, I've been a very like a huge proponent of his abilities. I was waiting for that challenger title to happen. It was a great payoff when it did, and now watching him do so well on the main tour in his first appearances, it's really one of the reasons why watching lower tier tennis is so satisfying for me, I suppose. And I think this guy is actually like, for real. There was a moment maybe when a couple of years ago when it seemed like his backhand could be a hole. It's not anymore. I think a lot of if he has any issues with it, it's mostly with the trust. But it's actually a very solid shot. I guess it's somewhat similar to the modern um, canonical sort of backhand in an ATP player where you just have a two-hander, you can slide into it so well, hit it open stance. Lots of youngsters have just very solid backhands like that. Is it not as dangerous as his forehand? Of course not, but well, of course, yes, but I don't think it's a liability anymore whatsoever. Biggest liability right now is just probably rally tolerance when he sometimes just plays too aggressively against a good defender like Arnaldi, whom he lost to in Madrid. Um, but maybe he can also be overwhelmed a little bit with power so far. He isn't that great at reacting to power yet. I think really it can be worked out in the long run, and yeah, I think he's absolutely for real, and would expect a top 100 debut really soon. I think out of all the young Frenchmen, he is the most exciting talent. The Brew has sort of stagnated since since transitioning to the tour. Of course, he's like 17, so it's understandable as well. Maybe he's gonna come out of that. I think all these guys like Mayo, Van Asch, not sure they really have the potential to like stick around on the main tour and beat top quality guys. Kazo, I think, could have it, but comparing him to Fields doesn't really make sense. I do wonder what will be with Becci Pericard. He has some obvious weaknesses like the backhand, of course. Can't really play indoors because of it, despite the big serve. But I do wonder what will happen with him. But yeah, for now, Fields is probably the most interesting French prospect, I think. And like, if you told me he was gonna, win slams or contend for slams, it's something you cannot really say at this stage because yeah, it's just guesswork, right? I'm not as certain about it as I was about Alcaraz or Runa, but yeah, I do think there is potential for this. I think he's one of the youngsters whose potential is just almost unlimited. And whatever he does with it along the way, of course there's going to be a lot of setbacks, of course there's going to be ups and downs, but like just in theory, just on paper, I do think he barely has any limitations. Yeah. um is it worth listening to me in this case? I don't know. I kind of struggle to find someone who is as who is so as much praise as myself for the guy. So maybe I'm a wizard, maybe I'm an idiot. We'll find out, I suppose. But the way he played in February, right? The back-to-back ATP semifinals. What was it, Marseille and Montpellier? I mean, no one can really disagree that it was absurd and yeah, just insane to do this at 18, and that the tennis he played there was absolutely like top 20 quality or something like that. So yeah, fantastic that he has made a jump this year from the level where he was just making a few quarterfinals in challengers last year. And we were getting impatient, right? I mean, we are clearly getting impatient because he was losing a lot of close matches, getting to quarterfinals, and then playing a poor match in them. We were getting impatient that the guy was 18, but that only really speaks of the expectations most people have for him. And Arnaldi was low 30 down in his game at 4-5 again. Then got it to 30 all, but now actually it's Schwartzman who finds a nice a nice lob forcing an overhead backhand volley from Arnaldi, and then cleans it up. So there's a set point for Schwartzman out of nowhere. Not really. The last few games, right, have been very even. Maybe some even favored the Argentinian, and now there's finally a rally on the break point, not like the previous two. Yeah, and that drop shot is not gonna be good enough from Arnaldi, but he finds this lob and is back inside the point, back in the point. Jesus Christ! Again, overusing the drop shot a little bit, but with an insane defensive lob, he is back in it, but he does not win the point. It's actually Schwartzman who takes it. Well, he eventually goes deep at the Arnaldi backhand, and the Italian nets it. So after an hour and 27 minutes, we're actually going to a third. And I think this is probably when I'm going to play you something and go to eat something. Yeah, just quickly grab a bite. But the question is, what was I supposed to play for you? And I think it was this. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to the comments after I play you just
Thanks
this.
for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I think I'm actually gonna have to finish eating here. Of course, I'm not gonna um like you know any um yeah, I'm not gonna make any very loud noises. I will try my best, but the guys are already playing. For honestly, after the opening set, I thought this was gonna be another talking tennis stream when I commentate on, yeah, just an exciting match that potentially could be fun. And then it turns out that it's like an hour affair, like Alcaraz Medvedev in the final in Indian Wells, for example, or even Sinner Medvedev was disappointing in the Miami final. I think I also did it for Duck in tennis. So, but right now, very unexpectedly, Schwartzman takes the second set. But of course, when you look at how the second set was progressing, it wasn't actually that unexpected. He was getting really close to Arnaldi and eventually got rewarded for it. And in the meantime, also saw that Jake is there, hey, and he says that he loves watching Arnaldi so much. I absolutely do as well. Yeah, again, I don't know if he has the highest of ceilings, but he's definitely really fun. Very, very nice energy as well. And yeah, I love that balance of his game, where it doesn't really feel like he struggles with much, whether it's attacking or defending. And that was always one of the things that I enjoyed about him. Kind of similar with Shevchenko of the current sort of guys who are on the verge of the top 100, where he also, like, no matter what you're gonna throw at him, no matter what you're gonna force him to do it on the court, he seems really comfortable with it all. Passaro was also on a track on the track to becoming a very similar player. I think you could probably see it most clearly when they played in the next gen finals last year, right? Arnaldi Passaro, that amazing five setter, and they weren't just no, they weren't two defenders just trying to out rally each other. They were actually going for it so much. But yeah, now that Passaro is in a little bit of a hole, I think he has lost that attacking capability a little. And today he lost to Albert Ramos Vinolas in the opening round, of course, not getting the Alcaraz match in the second round. In fact, I actually think that Passaro will not be breaking the top 100 this year, which saddens me because he seemed like one of the locks to do it. But the problem is that he hasn't done that much outside of clay. And, in the summer last year, he made 5 challenger finals, winning one of them. So, like, it's going to be hard to even match that achievement and to break it with his yeah, to break it in the summer, he would have to top these achievements, and that's not. Jesus Christ, that Arnaldi forehand was just insane. Apparently it's not in, but oh no, Greco, I think it's Greco Hainsworth, says it's out. But like the speed of that was, I don't think we can really get. Okay, I mean, looking at the mark, it's probably closer to the line than what they had Andy Murray against Andy Murray yesterday, right? There was that um, big drama with Murray Fonini. I can't remember who the umpire. No, it was Layani, right? Who, well, it seemed like the mark is really distinctly away from the line, but he actually said that it touched. We haven't seen a perfect like view of the mark, so maybe he was right. I'm not saying. It's a shame we can't get the speed metric on that Alcaraz, Jesus, Arnaldi forehand, because I think it was probably faster than that winner that he had earlier, 158. Someone hits a huge forehand, and my mind is already talking. In my mind, it's already Alcaraz, not Arnaldi. But anyway, fourth breakpoint for the Italian. Schwartzman hitting some decent balls, but it's not enough to make Arnaldi miss, even though there was a bit of a mishit in one of the strokes. Nice counter from Schwartzman, contre pied, going to the same direction. But another one of these fake droppers from Arnaldi as well. That's been a really interesting tool in his arsenal today. Now it's Arnaldi fully in control, and wow. I mean, making his forehand more compact, hitting it off a shorter ball, but also with so much pace. Really incredible point, and he deserves all the applause that he is getting, and he's asking for more, and of course is getting that as well. Phenomenal rally to break, probably like I don't know, 30 shots, maybe, or something like that. I'm just guessing, but but I would assume that it could have been something like this, and finished off in style, really in style. Doesn't look like they will show us how many shots it was in the rally, but I'm pretty sure it was over 20 for sure, but not sure if 30, but really incredible point. And Schwartzman had a couple of moments when he easily could have won it, but all of these like defensive gets from Arnaldi that are flying high, just sort of moonballish, they all have insane depth on them. Like I've seen him miss like one or two of them in this match, and most of them just land on the baseline, and they don't even give Schwartzman a good chance for a baseline smash or something. Which of course isn't that easy either with his height. I'm finishing my dinner leftovers, so don't worry. I hope you're not hearing much. Haven't eaten on stream before, I think, but when it went free, I kind of knew I had to consume something. Otherwise, I'd die. As I said earlier, I just returned from like a table tennis practice and have not eaten in a few hours, and that obviously takes a lot of energy out of me. We're actually playing in like the Polish university championships on during the weekend, so the last few practices have been quite well, a little more important as well, and like I really giving it my all, let's say. And Max says she likes listening to me. Thank you. That really makes me happy, because I remember earlier when I had that rant about the WTA not being too competitive right now on clay other than Świątek, and half the people in the stream left. But I hope that it was actually just a random error. A random error. I mean, I hope that it was just random. Who first developed the open stance backhand, I wonder, says Sean. I've tried it a few times and it feels quite awkward. No clue, absolutely no clue. Who might have invented it and who started playing first. Definitely have no idea. But am I really? I wonder if I've been playing it much in tennis. Probably not. I have a one-hander which kind of sucks, and I actually really struggle defending that side. Like when someone plays with good depth to like when someone plays with good depth to my backhand, they usually win the point. So that clearly means that I don't have my open stance backhand developed, I think. It's probably a little easier on the forehand. I think at least for me, I feel like I hit it quite a lot on the forehand. usually with a slide as well. This game was supposed to be very uncomplicated for Arnaldi, but if he cannot win this point, then it might still get tough. He goes for a serve and volley again, though. Like five of them probably in this match already, and another time it's pretty good. You know, the returns from Schwartzman are not coming back with any sort of impact that could really hamper the volleying Arnaldi. He has so much time on it. Maybe not the cleanest volleying technique, but like he figures it out. He had a pretty terrible miss a couple of games back, but where he has so much time on it and like the ball is just flying right into his comfort zone, he ain't gonna miss. This time Schwartzman even made it to the drop volley, but there he actually couldn't have done much else than just play it back at Arnaldi already. But that was mostly because the return was just subpar. Maybe he's not expecting these Arnaldi servant volleyings. These Arnaldi servant volley attempts, because if Arnaldi stayed at the baseline, then this return would have been perfectly fine. Like not giving him an advantage, but perfectly fine. That's a sick angle on the forehand from Schwartzman. Absolutely insane, and he did it right after a net court from Arnaldi. So had even less time to prepare for it, but there was no way to get to this ball. Fantastic shot. Okay, guys, one last bite. Yeah, I've already finished eating, so at least you're spared that. That was an experience. I probably will try to avoid it in the future, only in extreme circumstances. Arnaldi tries to step around his backhand to hit a huge return, but that doesn't work. Of course, he was low 40 down, so there wasn't really it was okay to risk it at that stage. Thank you, Ria, as well. She says that she's been enjoying listening to me. Reminds of the old ATP radio. Yeah, I've never listened to the ATP radio, but I've heard from some people who were really sad at it being eliminated, I suppose. I think it wasn't really giving the ATP any profits or something. A lot more informative than the TV commentary, yeah, but it's also like a very different style, right? What we do here, we talk constantly, like literally talk without interruptions, because the assumption is that you guys might be watching the match or you might not be. So it would be stupid to have 15-second pauses whenever a point is played, which of course in TV commentary is what you're doing. And also in TV commentary they're like focusing on the match 100%, and here, as you know, we just usually talk about plenty of other stuff at the same time. It would be impossible, probably in TV commentary of watching in TV commentary of Arnaldi Schwartzman, I wouldn't be able to talk for 10 minutes about Arthur Fields, or no, maybe not 10, but like 5 minutes, or for like 10 minutes about the state of clay competition on the WTA side, unless it was a match of Arthur Fields, or unless it was um, just maybe a women's match on clay with some contenders for Rome. So yeah, I think it's a very different style. Probably just like that. Yeah, I am very open to doing some TV commentary, though. If someone in the chat is able to, it is in any way related to any TV channels or whatever. I'm here. I could definitely try. Not gonna lie, it's been like a bit of I don't know if a dream of mine, but certainly one of the things that I imagined myself doing from an early stage. Maybe not necessarily tennis at the beginning. Probably it was like football at first, but yeah, definitely was always something that I had in mind as a potential career choice. Maybe just with the fact that I talk a lot and I'm also interested in sports, I suppose. So I think it would be a pretty decent feat. Doubt any six of you are actually able to get me this, but yeah, Signation, where to watch this match live. Well, there are plenty probably of TV channel options depending on where you live. There's also Tennis TV in terms of the official streaming, which costs a bit like the paid subscription. I'm not really sure, like $15 a month or something. If you're talking about like unofficial options, which frankly I am using, I don't think I can really tell you on this one. That would be probably like illegal or something, and we could get taken down. So yeah, sorry, but yeah, officially, of course, yeah. In wherever you are in the world, there's probably some TV channel doing it, and yeah, Tennis TV for the internet option. But it is you have to pay for the subscription to watch there. So Sean also says that some TV commentary is good, but a lot of it is repetitive. Yeah, I actually think that well, I usually just watch without commentary. So much of my tennis watching is also the Challenger Tour. Uh, well, where only in the States you get commentary sometimes. But in terms of like TV, yeah, I'm not really a fan of all these word feed commentators mostly. Some of them are fun, like the famous quotes of Robbie Koenig, or yeah, there are a few good ones, of course, but at the same time, if you have to avoid like John McEnroe and some former players don't really give that much of a damn. I think, yeah, McEnroe, like Villander, they often come unprepared and like don't really even try to hide it, which makes me a bit sad. Um, I used to watch a lot of tennis on TV in when I was living in with my parents. So I used to watch a lot of tennis on TV with Polish commentary, and I actually think we have some pretty decent commentators here as well. Some of them former players as well. I mean, some of them are better than others. Michał Przysiężny, whom you might remember as the ATP 57, nicknamed Polish Federer because of the one-hander. Like for example, he does not care at all. He's like John McEnroe of Polish tennis commentary. Uh, but yeah, he just thinks that his name will basically carry him through anyway, and it kind of is like that because for the casual fans, it's huge. Przysiężny is commentating. Let's listen to what he says, even though he um, clearly, yeah, just doesn't come prepared a lot of the time. But there are also some good ones for sure. Like out of other former players, there's David Olejniczak, who played Wimbledon 2008 main draw. That was his only Grand Slam. I think he's a very fine commentator, and Poland, for example. Other favorites of mine are probably not former players, I would say. There was also Katarzyna Nowak, but I think she was fired of one of our TV stations. But she played Venus Williams even once back in the 90s. I think she was in the top 100 as well. But I actually did not like her commentary whatsoever. Um, she was like she had some very weird intonation and yeah, this manner of speaking that was like very posh, I would say. Yeah, she was the world number 47 in 1995, and I remember her, I think, playing Venus, but I might be wrong about that. Um, Yeah, I might just be wrong about that. Of course, I did not watch the match. Yeah, I cannot find it, so maybe I'm actually mixed up something. But yeah, anyway, she was a top 50 player. Yeah, Jim Courier is fine. I have nothing against Jim Courier. His interviews in Australia were always pretty amazing, and especially the ones with Federer. Like, there's this way on YouTube, right, to add video to your favorites, and I have, like, I don't know, 15 favorites or something, and one of them is that half an hour compilation of Federer and Courier talking on the court in Australia in some different matches, different years. All of them are, I think, are really funny. And yeah, as an analyst, he's also really fine. I think, yeah, one of the ones that they can actually add something other than, yeah, just being there and being the famous tennis player. I think he does very well in both. Chris Eubanks could be a good one in the future as well. And yeah, being a Challenger fan, of course, I love Mike Cation as well. When he does the American Challengers, maybe less so his substitute, sort of, Brian Fenley. I think he is a little weaker, but I think he still adds to the broadcast when he's there. I'm surprised this Schwartzman shot was not called out, but well, apparently it landed in. Arnaldi had a very clear chance at a break there if he won this point, but for now it's 30-15 Schwartzman still, and the double break is far away now, but not that far away if he can only land the next point, of course. Second serve from Schwartzman, so we're sure Arnaldi will attack it. He does. Wow, beautiful. Really good stuff. Big backhand return, and it seemed like Schwartzman, like, just made the danger go away by just getting a good get. That maybe just set up in the air after the bounce a little bit, but still, this is just a ball that Arnaldi is killing these days, and that's one of the ways in which he's improved so much since the time when he was basically, yeah, just a defender, coming up onto the Challenger Tour. And here's that breakpoint for a double break back, which feels like it would be game over, with 4-1 Arnaldi, and with the way he's been playing in this match. Well, with the way he's been serving as well, right? Schwartzman only really getting some action in the latter half of the second set. Feels like that 4-1 would be game over, but can he do it? Yeah, the first serve from Schwartzman not doing anything, basically. So it's not that much of a wonder that Arnaldi made all first serve returns. That was out. I mean, my eyesight is terrible today, it seems. Never would have guessed that this was out, but actually, maybe Schwartzman was blocking the view a little for me. Yeah, let's just blame it on Diego Schwartzman. And Schwartzman attacks Arnaldi, finally gets one of these moon balls from Arnaldi to land out. I will have to do something very quickly because apparently I screwed up, and thought that I already published something at another website, but apparently I didn't. But it's just just a second sort of thing. Schwartzman trying to hit his forehand quite big now, but yeah, just one that doesn't get enough depth and pop on it, and then Arnaldi is quickly back into the point. And when Arnaldi is dictating with his forehand, he's usually not that. I mean, it's just easier for him to end it on a whim, and he is not letting this advantage go as often as as often as Schwartzman is doing it. But he will get another advantage. I just have to proofread that article now, but I think it's gonna be very quick. Let's see if Schwartzman wraps up this game first. Gonna be on his second serve again, but honestly, with the way he's been serving, I'm not sure it really matters that much. Well, it matters because Arnaldi is just really leaning forward into it and blasting it off his backhand, and it forces out the error from Schwartzman, who is really pissed right now. Not really sure about what though, because Arnaldi is just crushing his second serve, but will Arnaldi make this? No. He got lobbed by Schwartzman, who was really, for a moment, he was in big trouble in this one. But he got lobbed and did not come up with the, well, 180 degrees backhand pass. Nice drop shot lob combo from the Argentinian. Gives him another game point. He is fighting for his life there, and so far it looks like he will probably hold on, and he does indeed. Almost 2 hours on the clock already. Arnaldi up 3-2 in the decider. I have to remove the comma here. Okay, just one more paragraph to proofread, so I will be with you in a second. And go. And go. So all right. 3-2 up, Arnaldi in the decider. I've already finished what I was supposed to finish, both the eating and the proofreading. So we're back to dividing our full attention to the Arnaldi Schwartzman match, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the last happening today in Rome. And it's probably a pretty fine choice, right? Well, maybe a name that has declined, but a name that still brings in a lot of crowds against an Italian and I guess against one of the more exciting Italians, of all the ones. Like, I'm not counting the prodigies, like Sinner and Musetti here, but out of all these other young Italians, who have been sort of stuck very close to the top 100 in the past couple of years, um, well, they've been reaching that level, let's say. Arnaldi is the first one to break the top 100. It wasn't Nardi, it wasn't Passaro, who for a while definitely seemed like they would do it first. It wasn't Coboli Zeppieri, who after 2021 seemed like they would probably do it first. It wasn't, I don't know, Bellucci, it wasn't Maestrelli, it was actually Matteo Arnaldi, and really kudos to him for that. I think even 12 months ago, if you told me that, I would be really surprised. If you told me that at the beginning of the year, probably not as much. But yeah, 12 months ago for sure. There was a little opening already in this game because Arnaldi missed. I think it was a back. Yeah, it was a short angle backhand at in the opening point of this game. But now Schwartzman just gives him a cheap error, and this is something he cannot really he cannot really do at this stage of the match if he wants to survive it. And the unreturned serve from Arnaldi comes in as well, giving him another free cheap point. Very absolutely vital at this point in time. 2 hours and 2 minutes into the match, and of course Arnaldi is just 3 holds away, like 2.5 holds away. +1 forehand from Arnaldi again reigns supreme. Definitely, like one of the main advantages that he's had in this match is definitely the quality of his first serve, right? Just the fact that he is getting some easy serve +1s, that he is getting some free points, and he gets another very. Oh, actually, no, they're gonna check it, but yeah, apparently the call is not gonna be for Arnaldi again. The serve was out. So it's not game. So it's not game Arnaldi yet. Hawkeye agrees to this time as well with the umpire. Let's see what he can do on his second serve. Well, he just rolls it in and will hope to win the rally. Kind of feels like unless he makes an error, he probably will. But it's Schwartzman who cracks first. This time it's Arnaldi pointing the mark to the umpire, who is inclined to agree indeed. And from the camera view that we saw, we could see that the mark was definitely out. 4-2 Arnaldi. Hawkeye agrees with that as well, by the way. Oh, I was shoot. A couple of hours ago, someone asked me on Twitter whether someone asked me on Twitter about whether Medjedovic will play any Challenger 175 qualies in Bordeaux or Turin, and I was supposed to reply to that, but I completely lost it. But yeah, he is on the entry list in Bordeaux. So let me just respond to that guy because he already asked 3 hours ago. Good question from Sean. I'll just see if there's anything else. Random question: is it warm in your area during the spring season? Not really. Depends on what you mean by warm. Like the past couple of days have been very warm. At least for Polish standards, like 20 Celsius or maybe like 18 during the day, and yeah, just normal weather that you could easily encounter in the summer. Lots of sun, so making that temperature that you can actually feel very. Did Arnaldi get hit with the boulder? I don't think he did. But it's Schwartzman's point anyway, because the shot landed in. So during the spring, I think it's just a normal, moderate climate, because I think Poland isn't a. I'm not really sure about the well, the lingo there in terms of like geography in English, but I think it's like moderate climate or something like this. And yeah, just the past couple of days, it's been actually pretty great. Federer went to Marvel's commentating at BBC, very possible. And Sean asks that question that made me laugh. How did you know? How did you get to know John Silk? Twitter, I suppose. Initially, John texted me on Twitter about doing a show on maybe US Open qualifiers or something like this, and we did that. It was very fun. Definitely. Then I think for a while we didn't really do anything together. But yeah, then he invited me for something else, and somehow he lured me into his network, so to speak. It honestly came out very naturally. Like, there was no moment when John was like, "Hey, Damien, you wanna help me create this thing?" It was just yeah, just sort of came out naturally, and you know, at least for now in my life, I don't really have. I would be watching this match anyway, so if I can sit here, talk with you guys, it's definitely like a more creative, a more developing way to spend time for me than just sitting down and watching this match by myself. I'm also more. It might not seem like that from yeah, from the different sort of paths and different themes that we discuss along the way. It might not seem like that, but I'm actually more focused on this match than I think I would have been if I was just watching it off stream, because I would be probably watching that and then something else on my second screen or something. And here at least my undivided attention is more or less to this match. And yeah, there's a changeover now because Schwartzman has just held. I think I'm gonna just get some water for myself. I was hoping to do it after the match, not to leave you for a minute, but well, it's not really going to be wrapped in like as quickly as I thought. Okay. Yeah, kind of forgot I was on the mic there. Genuine question, says John. Okay, can a natural talent such as Federer can be as good as a commentator? Genuine question. I do think that Federer is not as much of a natural talent as maybe you could think in terms of like tactics and etc., which is really important for a commentator. There are definitely tennis pros who just come out and do their thing, sort of. I'm not sure Federer was ever one of them, though. I do think that he, well, anytime I've heard him speaking about tennis in like strictly strategy sort of sense, it seemed to me like he understands the game very well. So yeah, and I think he would be a good commentator. He is has some really nice wit, and I feel like he would be adding a lot to the show. I mean, it's pretty clear that we're gonna see him as a commentator, right, at some point. For probably at Wimbledon. Um, it's not going to be like a job that he's gonna do over the course of the whole year. I don't think so, but I think we're gonna see him, and I think it's going to be an event of some sorts for sure. And I actually think it will be very enjoyable. But I am also biased, right? I'm definitely a little biased. Just always really liked him as a person and as a player, frankly. So um, if it was like a tennis player, I don't know. I mean, are there really tennis players that I dislike? Kind of disliked Elliot Benchetri after the banana incident at the Australian Open qualifying, or maybe there's been some individual things, but generally it's kind of hard for me to find players I dislike. And that's how Schwartzman should be returning when Arnaldi is approaching the net. This time he finds the beautiful backhand return winner. Great angle on this. I wonder if it's just an accident, or if he this time he actually was expecting Arnaldi to be at the net. I think he was just looking at how he we had a nice replay of how Diego's eyes were going when he was prepping for that backhand, and I think you can kind of see that he saw Arnaldi moving forward, which is quite interesting. And I think there was one more question. Let me see this point first, though. Couple of very deep forehands from Arnaldi, and he caps it off with a smash. What do you think makes Yannick a tricky opponent to Carlos? That's a good question. I don't even know if I can really reply to it. In theory, Alcaraz has a lot more variety than Sinner, right? Maybe it shouldn't work like this, but I think Alcaraz is still kind of vulnerable to these guys. Like, it depends on the conditions, right? If he plays, I don't know. Oh, Felix Auger-Aliassime maybe is a good idea. They played this year and it wasn't really that close. But when they played indoors last year, he was just smashed off the court, right? And I think he is still kind of vulnerable to just players who can hit extremely deep and extremely fast of both wings, and just keep him on his toes, keep him honest, sort of. Don't let him have fun at all, but at the same time, can just keep producing that linear power, which is something that maybe Tsitsipas can't really do because he doesn't have a backhand, and Sinner is one of the few who you wouldn't really like. It's even hard to say which of his strokes is weaker. And I think there are very few players who could really, where you could really you could really say that, like you could really say that from both wings they have so much attacking potential, and just the ability to blast the ball, which Sinner for sure does. I think maybe this sort of approach, this sort of steady, but also very dynamic pace going at Alcaraz is more troubling to him than when it's someone like Tsitsipas, who has some very clear weaknesses in his game, which Sinners doesn't really. Like, you have to actually look very deep for something. It's not maybe that easy to just expose it. And maybe that's the reason. I know I'm kind of reaching, and the main reason for this is that I simply don't know. It is a little it's definitely something to talk about, because, well, if 99% of the tour is just crashed by Alcaraz and not necessarily by Sinner, and then they play each other and it's completely different, then that's a nice coincidence to try to make sense of, for sure. I think it could be similar with Rune, but of course, Alcaraz Sinner is a matchup that we've seen plenty of times, and we've seen some big matches between them already. The UMAC final, the Roland Garros quarterfinal. Sorry, Roland Garros US Open, of course. Indian Wells in Miami this year. So there's definitely a huge difference of sample size there between Rune Alcaraz and Sinner Alcaraz. I do think that probably Rune will be also in that same category of pushing Alcaraz close most times they play, while maybe not dominating the tour as much as he will be. But yeah, this is something we kind of have to wait and see how it progresses in Alcaraz Rune, in the Alcaraz Rune case, because I think in the Alcaraz Sinner one, we can kind of already. We are almost certain that this situation is going to more or less continue unless Alcaraz comes up with something new or something. That was a weird point. Arnaldi did not check the mark on the baseline shot from Schwartzman and then lost the point a few shots after. So it actually should have been double match point, but right now it's 30 all. So Schwartzman remains in this match. We'll see for how long. It's either gonna be match point or game point from here. Did Schwartzman find the line? I don't think he did. Yeah, Greg. The umpire also confirms it, and clearly Schwartzman did not find it on the forehand down the line. So match point for Arnaldi. 2 hours and 18 minutes, if I so correctly, through Schwartzman's legs. And let's see if Arnaldi can clinch it. Lots of depth on the forehand, and Schwartzman almost missed. A bit of a shank, but he is in the rally still. And Arnaldi does not make that one step that he basically needed to take to get that backhand over the net. He lost his balance a little bit, and we're back at deuce. I mean, technically not back at deuce, since this is the first time we've had a deuce in this game. But to argue that I wasn't really wrong, I can say that there's already been deuces in this game before, so in this match before. So, technically I wasn't wrong, maybe, even though in my mind I kind of was, because I definitely meant this game specifically. Slice from Arnaldi, and he sets up for a huge forehand. What the hell? Did he really make this? I don't even know what to say. I mean, this was like an Ash Barty type of deal, but more powerful. Less placement on the forehand, more power. But how can I even say less placement if he landed this on the line? But what an insane shot. Very nice usage of the slice where it just sets you up for a bigger forehand, for a more advantageous position in the rally, and he took it fully. Another match point. There was another one of these backhands on which he lost balance, but he survives. Schwartzman, for his to his credit, is also putting in some great shots, and it's Arnaldi who misfires first. A forehand unforced errors gives Schwartzman the ability to get this back to deuce, and he is still not done. Five minutes and 40 seconds in this game already. Sorry again for the yawning. I don't know what's getting into me today. Okay, and Schwartzman will have a game point. You thought for a moment that maybe this Arnaldi backhand pass was gonna be in, but it was actually quite far out. Just the matter of perspective that made it seem like it could be. That made it seem like it could be better than it was. Can Schwartzman ask the question? Can he force Arnaldi to serve it out? After this drop shot, it's still unclear. Wow. Great drop shot from Arnaldi and maybe an even better response from Schwartzman, but eventually it's the young Italian that wins the point. Deuce. This time I could. Sorry. This time I can definitely say again because we've already seen plenty of deuces here. There's a lot of misconceptions about yawning, right? Like what it really means is that your brain is lacking oxygen. But if you do it like in class or something or in school, then the teacher is gonna be really angry at you, which I think it just shows that they're uneducated. Oh, I mean, I don't really think that, but yeah, I remember because I am a person who yawns a lot. Apparently, my brain just often lacks oxygen. I don't know if that's good. That's probably not good, not great. But I remember being like very cautious with my yawning in class because if you do it like right in the face of your teacher, it's clear what he's gonna think. 8 minutes in this game already, and Schwartzman has another game point to get it to 5-4 or 4-5 from his perspective. Forehand drop shot from Arnaldi, and Schwartzman can't quite make it, so another deuce. Arnaldi has probably played like 100 drop shots today. I would say he won most of the points. Definitely won most of the points. How many? What the percentage would be? Definitely not like 90. I don't think so. But yeah, it would still be pretty high. And of course, with in tennis, a tactic that gets you the win 70% of the time is already insane, right? Because even the guys like the GOATs, the all-time greats, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, they were only winning, they are only winning 55, 56% of the points. So even if a tactic is giving you 70%, it's already absolutely insane. Ghosty is back in the chat with the winner count of Arnaldi and Schwartzman and also the unforced errors. And yeah, that's what we've been seeing. The development of Arnaldi in terms of his attacking game definitely shining through again here. And yeah, Schwartzman just does not have any ways to win points. But that's exactly what happened in that match with Bellucci that I mentioned. This time, though, he risks it. He goes for a backhand down the line, asks the crowd for support, which I think he's gonna get probably even if he's in Italy and playing an Italian. Definitely a very very enjoyable player. When my mom found out that I was supposed to, because I didn't eventually, because he lost to Matteo Bellucci right in Cagliari, but I was supposed to talk to Schwartzman if he won. And when my mom found out about this, she said to tell him that she always watches his matches and that she roots for him. I never knew that she was a Diego Schwartzman fan. I wouldn't have done it, 100% no. I mean, I don't. I think that would be very unprofessional, but it was just still interesting to me, and maybe another um, sort of example of how popular Schwartzman is for some interesting reasons. I think even psychologically, I think people really find it easy to identify with him because he's like doing, or maybe not identify with him, but just I think people are really impressed with him holding up with all these stronger, taller, more powerful guys. interesting psychological, sociological um, mechanism, I suppose. But that's another monster forehand from Arnaldi, and it sets him up for the fourth match point. Schwartzman has him on the defense, but will he take it? He won't. He shanks the forehand, and Arnaldi wins the match. Honestly, even though he dropped a set, pretty great performance from the Italian, I think. His first serve was really quite important, and the killer forehands that we saw him dispatch against Ruud a couple of a week ago definitely were quite amazing too. So yeah, just not much that Schwartz can do at this point, right? It's weird. That what Ghosty says that Arnaldi is 73 out of 78 for first serves. I'm not sure where you do that stat from and what's it supposed to mean, frankly, because that's definitely not his first serve points one stat or his first serve percentage. But yeah, I mean, he was serving well, 100%. Condolences to Jeffro, of course, our main fan of Diego Schwartzman in this talking tennis community, I would say. And apparently, Ghosty will not be getting a Jeffro tattoo because he said that if Diego wins, then he's gonna get it. Very exciting match for Arnaldi up next. I think Arnaldi playing Musetti in the second round definitely has a chance. I'm not sure what the odds there will be. Probably Musetti as the favorite, but it's not going to be easy for the Italian, I think. And yeah, even though he lost a set, I think Arnaldi showed some great tennis today. And Schwartzman, is there any positives here? He gave it a good fight in the second, that's for sure. But he was never really able to, just put that much pressure on Arnaldi. And at the stage of his season where Schwartzman is in, he kind of needs more, right? Yeah, I think the up is lying to you, Ghosty. Like, I don't think a decent set and a half is enough for Schwartzman anymore. When after Roland Garros he can be forced to play challengers only. Um, but anyway, I think that's gonna be it for today. Of course, tomorrow Rome is back with so much action on both the men's and the women's side. The rest of the women's second round matches and the first men's second round matches. Personally, probably most excited for Fils Rune, which we mentioned here a bit. I mean, we haven't talked about the match, but we talked about Arthur Fils and seeing how he fares against Rune. Probably not on a court that really suits him that much, but still, I think that this will be really, really exciting tomorrow, and I can't wait to see it. Oh, and I'm glad that Shevchenko also made it in as a lucky loser when Grigspor withdrew. That made a lot of sense because, of course, Shevchenko and Fils played in the final qualifying round, and that just felt unfair. Probably the two most dangerous qualifiers. People in the qualifying. There were a few others, Kokinakis maybe, and like Serundolo, but that just felt unfair. Peace Ghosty as well. Thanks to all of the guys who were here in the chat, and see you on some other Talking Tennis stream. Fun match, I think. Even though Schwartzman is definitely, 10 times worse than his prime, and that's probably an understatement. See you guys some other time. I don't know if John is there to close it out for me or if I should do it myself. But if you are here, John, then this is the moment. Thank you. Apparently he's not, so I'm gonna close this out myself. See you guys.